All right, well, welcome to this edition of Tech on Ice. So, I was thinking about, we talk a lot about the cloud, right? And I think one of the things that's fascinating to me about the cloud is that not a lot of people really know what it is, right? I think people have an idea. It's like, oh, it's some stuff, it's things that are, you're paying some company to basically offset the costs of infrastructure, right? But you see these bills, or you see these prices for things, and you might not know exactly like what the cloud consists of. So maybe let's just do a quick little rundown of like what the cloud is and why it's valuable, right? So before quote unquote the cloud, uh, we had uh, servers, right? We still have servers, but we kind of had to buy servers ourselves, right? So we would have data centers, which would either be in parts of our offices, or maybe we'd pay a company to kind of, host our data center somewhere. And we would be responsible for paying for the PCs or the server machines that there was. We had to maintain the patches for them. We had to make sure that they were using performance hardware, all those sort of things. Um, and then, one of the things that people run into consistently back then is that you had to acknowledge scale. So you had to go from, oh, during this part of the year, I need more servers or I need more capacity or what have you, right? And it becomes a full time job for many, many people to kind of maintain and manage all of those things. And one of the things that was introduced with the cloud is that as you get more and more and more servers, it becomes more and more just not taxing from a people perspective, but from a money perspective too. So what does the cloud actually do in that regard? So the cloud takes a lot of that management away. So you pay for three things technically in the cloud. Well, four things if you want to think about it like holistically. You pay for storage, which is hard disk space, storing files, storing miscellaneous things. You pay for networking, so traffic in and out of whatever things you're building, databases or apps or what have you. And then you pay for this thing called compute, which more or less is a measurement of the memory and CPU utilization or capacity for a particular, um, I guess you could say, instance of something. So you pay for those three things, and then in some cases, in some services in the cloud, you might pay for like a management fee or something like that. But at the end of the day, you're paying for three things. It, more than likely, compute, networking, and storage. So when you think about the cloud, you're really just thinking about how am I offsetting my server costs, and I'm paying some vendor or some additional company to replace my need to purchase compute, networking, and storage. So that's what's really really interesting about the cloud. And then there are all these other additional things that you get along the way, like you get the opportunity to tap into you know analytics, integration between all these different services. Um, and then if you're talking about just like strictly VMs, like VMs as an example, like not having to, patch the operating system, not having to make sure like, oh, we need an 8 core CPU, we only have 4 core CPUs. Well, it's a slider bar or a checkbox or whatever the cloud provider, how whatever that process looks like in their particular their portal. So it's really interesting that we go from managing spreadsheets, probably, or asset management systems of all of my servers, what the specs are for those servers, what the utilization of those servers are, um, and then we switch over to doing all of that in the cloud. We still have access to all those things, but instead of having to pay miscellaneous hardware vendors or data center companies, and we're doing all of the management on our side from the operating system or the app level. We're we pay a vendor to do it, which I think is pretty fascinating. Um, so this is this is an attempt to kind of make things a bit more streamlined for ops and IT professionals, right? Which I think is great. Um, so that's the cloud, at least in my opinion. If you have differing opinions, or if I was completely off base, feel free to comment and let me know where I went wrong. But this has been an edition of Tech on Ice. I hope you like this idea. If you like it, be sure to like, subscribe, follow wherever you're watching. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.